I wanted to do a little history lesson on the Second Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Uh, Back in 1700s, when we came to the colonies, the British come over here and they declared that they owned the colonies. Well, the United States wrote the Declaration of Independence. A declaration is not asking for permission, it's telling, it's declaring. We declared our independence from Britain. We didn't ask them for their permission. We declared, we told them, we're done with your British rule. Well, the Britons come over here and decided to stomp us down, the British tyrants, and tell us that no, they were the rulers of us. Well, that was when a little thing called the Revolutionary War sprung up. And that Revolutionary War, we won, which solidified our independence from Britain. And after that, the Founding Fathers wrote the Constitution of the United States to set the precedent for what the new world would be. And the Second Amendment was written, and it said that there was the right of the people to keep and bear arms, well-regulated militia to keep and bear arms, to secure a free state. Well, a lot of people have the misconception that this is for deer hunting, that they wanted people to keep guns to hunt. Well, let me explain something to you. The British didn't come over here to hunt deer, they come over here to hunt us. And the Founding Fathers basically didn't want it to happen again. They didn't want it to happen to the free people of the new continents, the new colonies. So they declared that the people had permission to keep and bear arms, to fight the tyrannical takeover of a tyrant government or a dictatorship, whatever was to come. And so people now are under the misconception, well, let me try to explain to you how I know that this is not why the Second Amendment was written. Thomas Jefferson was quoted as saying, the beauty of the Second Amendment is you'll never need it until they try to take it away. Now, what does that explain to you? The deer is not going to come and take away your hunting rifles. They meant the government tries to take away your right to bear arms and then basically enslave you, like Britain or Cuba or Cold War Russia, any of that. So, I mean, that pretty much explains it right there. And then for you people that say, well, back then all they had was muskets. They didn't intend for us to have these military rifles. That just right there is the most foolish statement I've heard an American make. In the 1770s, the muskets won the Revolutionary War. The muskets were the military rifle and the flintlock pistols. That's what won the Revolutionary War. Today, the U.S. soldier fights wars with an AR-15. Exactly what the government plans to try to ban from us. Well, that is unconstitutional, because today the equivalent to the musket rifle of 1770 is the AR-15, the military rifle. And the people of America have every right to own that gun, because it's not impossible for a dictatorship to take control of this country. And the problem is the military is no longer controlled by the people like the Constitution intended, but is now controlled by a government. Well, when that government decides to take all your rights and liberties away, if you don't have a military rifle to combat a tyrant, then you're not going to win. You can't fend off tyrants with 22s and muskets. So if you think anything other than that, you're pretty much a fool. So maybe you should go back to school and learn some history on what has happened with Stalin, Pol Pot, people like that, when they Hitler, when they say that we need gun control. So then they can round you up, exterminate who they would like, people like me that voice our free opinion, another thing that was guaranteed forever by the Constitution. Basically what it boils down to is, if you don't like the Constitution, it's guaranteed forever. It's not something you can say, well, times have changed, so let's change that. No, the Constitution is guaranteed forever. So my advice would be to find a suitable country that fits your more of what you think it should be and go live there. Because the United States Constitution will be protected by the people and the right to bear arms. That's what it was intended, for us to protect it. So no, it can't be changed, and it can't be manipulated. It was not guaranteed. The right to bear arms was not to be infringed. It didn't say not to be infringed until it needs infringed, or until later on down the road. No, it said not to be infringed. So I just thought I'd give you a little history lesson on the United States of America. Do not allow this government to take your guns. Voice your opinions. Write to your legislators. Send emails. Whatever you got to do. Put it on your Facebook page. Screaming at the top of your lungs out the window. Whatever you got to do. Do not let them take nothing. Because another quote from Benjamin Franklin, once I believe it was 1775, he said, those who would trade civil liberties for temporary safety deserve neither liberty or safety. And what he's basically saying is, if you give up part of your rights because you don't feel safe, then you don't deserve to be safe or to have any rights. So maybe you should go back and listen to some quotes back then, because they knew what could happen. They seen it with the British rule. So they intended for this country to stay free, and we will as long as we're armed. I believe that's why the Japanese didn't want to invade us in World War II, because they knew everybody had a gun. And they'd not be fighting the army, they'd be fighting the entire United States of America. Everybody would walk out of the door with a gun. There wouldn't be no white flags hanging outdoors, there'd be gun barrels. So I don't know, that's just a little history lesson that the way I feel about it. Pretty much the way it was written in the Constitution, so take it as you want, but my advice would be, if you don't like the U.S. Constitution, find another place to live. You're free, that's the beauty of the United States. You're free to pack up and go to Canada, or if you want guns to be banned, then you're free to go to China or anywhere else that they're banned. You know, where you're free to get stabbed by a knife. You know, you can't stop crime. Guns are banned in China, and people are stabbing each other left and right. And the same thing with Australia. You cannot stop crime, and no gun ban, no assault ban will stop a school shooting. And if you think it will, go back to 1994 when President Clinton signed the 10-year assault ban into effect. 1994 through 2004. Right in the middle of that, 1999, you had Columbine. And one of the guns was a gun assault weapons compliant rifle. So it don't work. And anybody's a fool to believe it does. So you can be a fool, or you can actually see the real truth. Enjoy.